In this series, I've set myself a challenge to obtain every single pet in Old School RuneScape starting on a fresh level 3 account. While I was editing episode 1, Jagex dropped a bomb that would essentially double the expected amount of time for us to obtain our first pet. In this episode, we will come to find that was not the only setback, and not even the biggest one. Welcome back to OnlyPets. We have a lot to talk about. On May 11th, Modzuko officially announced that the Tiny Tempor drop rate is 1 in 8,000. That news essentially turned our expected 80-hour grind into a 160-hour one. But even within that statement, a huge assumption is being made, and it's an assumption that turns out to be wrong. We'll get into that, but for now, we need to head over to Port Khazard. With over 120 hours of Tempoross still in front of me, I've decided to obtain the Angler's outfit. Not only will the Angler's outfit grant us over 200,000 extra XP, but once transformed into the Spirit Angler's outfit, it will actually act as a rope within Tempoross. This saves us an additional inventory space and is huge over the course of hundreds, if not thousands, of Tempoross KC. The most common way to obtain the Angler's outfit is via the Fishing Trawler minigame, which received a pretty big update back in late April. Each game now takes 5 minutes down from the previous 10 and has honestly become much more AFK. Once you start the minigame, you'll find yourself in the belly of a ship quickly taking on water. If you spam click fast enough to tie the bots, you'll see the recently opened gap with some swamp paste and you'll gain 5 contribution points. At 50 contribution points you can fully AFK, which made this grind extremely easy. There's another method that some people prefer on the deck of the ship, which involves chopping the Kraken tentacles after they attack, and then rebuilding the railing of the ship. Personally, I found this method way less consistent and way less AFK. As long as you obtain 50 contribution points, you have a 1 in 12 chance to receive a piece of the Angler's outfit. The nice thing about this grind is that there's actually no chance of you getting a duplicate piece. You can only receive a piece that you have not already owned. Now, with 4 pieces and a 1 in 12 drop rate each, this should take about 50 games, which is roughly 4 hours and some change. With all of that said, let's begin and let's get after this Angler outfit. Do we have the 1 KC luck? No, we do not. I didn't receive my first piece until KC 29. I don't have a recording of it, so you're just gonna have to take my word for it, but I was already expected to have 2, almost 3 pieces by this point. Oh, nice, we got the top. That is KC 50. Finally, on kill 67, I got the Angler legs, and almost unbelievably, on kill 69, we finished the set. With the full Angler's set acquired, I needed to make a quick pit stop to the Grand Exchange to upgrade my harpoon, and then upgrade my Anglers before we were ready to get back into the Tempoross. By now you're probably wondering what other setbacks we may have faced and what could possibly be worse than having the drop rate suddenly double. In order to answer that question, we need to do a little bit of math. In the beginning of this episode, I said that it would take me 160 hours to get to the 8,000 reward points required to hit the Tiny Tempor drop rate. Unfortunately, that math is based on a lie. If you recall from last episode, I said that the wiki expected people to be able to hit around 50 reward points an hour. I spent 50 hours inside of Tempoross last episode, meaning I should have claimed around 2,500 reward points. If that's the case, why did I only claim 1,700? Unfortunately, this means that I averaged only 34 points an hour over my first 50 hours of Tempoross. I left over 30% of the possible reward points on the table. It turns out that the only thing worse than finding out I have more time in front of me is learning that I've wasted the time behind me. It is crucial that I make sure that I'm getting at least 50 points an hour from here on out. If not, then I risk my already daunting 160 hour grind rising to a 230 hour one. The issue is that it is physically impossible to get to 50 points an hour on Tempoross worlds, so I'm going to need to learn how to solo it. Thankfully though, the wiki exists and has a pretty helpful guide on how to do just that. My first solo trip went okay at best, honestly. It's going to take me some time to get the timing down and get used to when to cook, when you have to run, things like that. But in case you're unfamiliar, here's the breakdown of how to solo Tempoross. First, you catch 10 harpoon fish, then you cook as many of those as possible before the double fish spot spawns. From there, you run to that double fish spot, catch a total of 7 more harpoon fish, and then cook that full inventory. At some point in the cooking, you're going to need to tether from the colossal wave. After you finish cooking those 17 harpoon fish, you'll load them into the cannon. At some point in that, the fires will spawn. The timing is pretty close, but you should be able to put all of those out before they spread. From there, you drop all of your buckets, and then cook and catch 19 more harpoon fish. The beauty of this is that Tempoross's energy is already below 10%, which makes it unable to launch any special attacks. Though you're not out of the woods yet, there is still the storm intensity you have to worry about. If the storm ever reaches 100% intensity, you automatically lose the round. The wiki mentions that you have to leave for the cannon by 93% intensity or else you won't make it in time. After loading those 19 harpoon fish, damage the Tempoross, catch, cook, and load 19 more harpoon fish, and then damage the Tempoross one more time. After that inventory, you actually catch a full inventory of fish. Again, catch, cook, load, and then you kill the Tempoross. Pretty simple, right? Eventually, soloing became very easy and actually slightly more AFK than Tempoross worlds. On screen, you can see the inventory markers that I set up. The green square marks the first 10 fish, the yellow is 17, and the red is 19 after you dropped all of your buckets. I really just couldn't risk using any brain cells while playing RuneScape, so I had to tag my inventory. Alright, this is going to be the first pull of this episode. We have about 820 reward points in here. The reason we're stopping here is completely random, but it does put us just above 2,500 total spirit reward points redeemed. Last episode we did just over 1,700, or just about 1,800 I think. But anyways, you know the drill. We're going to be sitting on the equipment slot this time, and we're going to get netting. Alright, and we're just now over halfway, or about halfway, at 400 reward points fished. We still have, I want to say, like 430 or something like that left, but getting down to it. And as we are nearing 8,000 XP, that means we are just about at our 800th reward drop, give or take, because of that +1 occasionally, but yeah, we are nearly done. No pet so far, but never give up. Never lose hope. Oh, alright, no pet, that's okay. We didn't really expect it there, it would always be nice to get, but we still have a bunch of rewards hopefully waiting for us in the inventory tab. Alright, let's see what we get in 3, 2, 1. Oh my god, it's a subscription and a like. Fine, here's the real clip. Alright, let's see what we got in 3, 2, 1. Boom! Oh no! No. That's the same drop rate as the freaking pet, dude! Oh my god. We got the big harpoon fish too, but the dragon harpoon is also 1 in 8,000. That is crushing. Oh my god. I mean, it's a mill, but that's the same drop rate. Oh, well, that's pretty much the collection log done then. Once we get the pet, the collection log will be done, which is, pretty cool, but that is so depressing. After soloing for a while, something weird started to happen. It felt like I knew where the fish spawns were going to appear before they even spawned in. It was like I was able to predict the future. Now, the only way that this would be possible is if the Tempoross rotation isn't random, but instead there's a set number of paths for the spawn to take. I decided I needed to know if this was the case. Either I was truly beginning to solve Tempoross, or Tempoross was actually taking my mind hostage. Now, when soloing Tempoross, you always spawn on the north side. This made it really easy to catalog the spawn points for each of the fishing spots. There's only 6 possible fishing spots, which I've labeled as you can see on my screen, 1 to 6. My theory is, based on where the first 2 fishing spawns appear, you can predict the entire rest of the round. It's the only explanation for my subconscious hovering my mouse over the spawn points of new fishing spots. This is my plan. Log the first 2 rotations for each Tempoross game that I play. X is for regular spawn points, Y is for double. If I was able to accurately predict the second rotation based on the first one, I will expand my rotation limit and investigate further. Now, you may be thinking to yourself, what's the point? This doesn't help anyone, isn't this just a big waste of time? Yeah, but I'm not the one watching a stranger on the internet do it. Boom, roasted. And here it is, my magnum opus. It probably doesn't take me to tell you that my immediate discovery was it's impossible for the first 2 rotations to start in the 3rd spawn point. Now, I'm guessing that this is done to prevent players from having to run too far, as it is the furthest from the boat, but I'm not really sure, and it seems pretty random to me. Unfortunately, it was at this point that I decided there is no correlation between the start and the first rotation. Now, I'm not entirely ruling out the possibility of it, but I just couldn't find any sort of correlation, and I wasn't really willing to put too much more time and effort into it. And besides, while I was doing all this, I actually found something way bigger and something useful. You see, when I was filling out this Excel sheet, I was pretty lazy and pretty bad at AFKing even. Because of that, I accidentally launched an occasional uncooked fish through the cannon. Now, the wiki is pretty explicit in that you fire 17 and then 2 batches of 19 cooked fish. This brings Tempoross down to 4% energy. However, if you launch 1 uncooked fish along with those 17 or 19 cooked fish, you actually bring Tempoross down to 1% energy. Now, this isn't going to change everything by any means, but it does allow you to get about 300 XP more per game. If you did this throughout your entire grind at Tempoross, if you're going for the pet like I am, assuming you hit drop rate at 800 KC, you get over 200,000 extra XP. Now, I know that that's not huge, and it's not even a level once you get above, I don't know, like 83 or something like that. But considering it takes almost no work and saves you 3 to 4 hours of your life, that's a pretty big win for me. Now, I know this isn't going to change everything like I said, but it is still an improvement, and I feel like I've left my mark. I've discovered something that up until this point has not been talked about, and that's pretty awesome. I feel like I can leave Tempoross knowing that I left it better than I found it. And now I just need the pet. Alright, it is now time to do our second pull of the episode and our last pull of the episode. We have 403 reward points in here. This brings us up to just above 1,200 total for the episode. It is now or never. Let's get this pet. I've decided to just hang out on the inventory screen since it doesn't really matter as we've gotten every unique. Yes, we can get a double harpoon or we can get another tome of water, but I'm not too excited about that. I just want the pet, man. Our final 5 reward points. Never say never. It's possible. 2, 1. Oh, no pet this episode. That's okay. Let's open these up real quick. We'll do a quick price check after that. Bada boom, just enough room. From our 500-ish rewards, we had 2 mil there, so pretty good actually money-wise, but not much to speak about on the pet front, unfortunately. Next episode ends in one of 2 ways. We either have the pet, or we have 8,000 points redeemed. Now, this is no small task. Currently, we sit just above 3,000 total reward points, meaning we have 100 hours of progress between us and 8,000. Nevertheless, that's my goal, and I really hope I'll see you there.